I will not be pushed, filed, stamped, indexed, briefed, debriefed, or numbered. My life is my own.
How subjective is art? Am I modern art? What is art, and what constitutes art? Is me sitting here with the tape recorder art? Or should I repeat that?
What is art? Is it a guy sitting here with the tape recorder playing back his voice to you? It could be, according to a lot of the modern art. Let's talk about that.
That's almost what I said, but not exactly what I said. What exactly did I say?
What is art, and what constitutes art? Is me sitting here with the tape recorder art?
I don't know.
Or should I repeat that?
I just don't know. Let's talk about that. I have a $5 tape recorder I got from Goodwill here. I was playing around with cassettes. I was thinking about nostalgic things, and I decided it was time to make a video about art. Now it's time to talk about art. With the wolf hat on, I'm in complete focus. In fact, I'm seeing Campbell's tomato soup through my eyes as I just close my eyelids, and I can think about all the beauty of modern art, including the white canvas painting that I saw. You wouldn't believe it. It was actually just a white canvas. It was epic, amazing. The average person may look at that and just say, it's a canvas with nothing on it. But to the trained mind, we can see right through that. We understand it stands for, accomplishments left undone. It stands for the artist that is stuck, the things in life that we can never get to. How absurd would it be for me to justify a white painting? But there are several of them. Not just that. I wish I had the description in front of me of what I saw from one big painting of just red. The whole canvas was painted red with a white stripe right down the middle. And the description of what that stood for was so absurd. It led me to one word that reminded me of a video I'd done a couple of years ago about apophenia. Apophenia is the tendency to see unrelated patterns and connections in things that have no connection whatsoever, or to create a story about something that really has nothing to do with that situation at all. Apophenia is something that people who have schizophrenia and delusions tend to make these assumptions and connections that they see things that really aren't there. The average person just can see that it's obvious that the person's coming up with these things. I feel like art has allowed others to rewrite what we think that art is. And modern art, starting with Mutt, who was an artist in 1917, he took a urinal and he posted that up as modern art. This was not the beginning nor the end of modern art. We had many different types. There was Salvador Dali, who painted surrealism, beautiful art. I enjoyed it. It was well done, well composed, looks cool. But a lot of the people at the time and to this day think that it's just out of place. It's not real art. So the question is, who am I to sit here and tell you what art is? Nobody. But modern art and sometimes consists of a blank canvas, or a red canvas with a white line. Now, these aren't the first. Some of the paintings who have sold for millions of dollars are nothing but red or blue swirls on a canvas background, something a kindergartner could do. All the insight and intellect you throw at that doesn't change the fact that it's garbage, that anybody could paint it. Even if you get a feeling from it, it brings something out in you. Look, we all have things brought out in us and feelings brought out by things that we see. It doesn't mean that it's art. Because if art doesn't have a definition, if it's not something that actually takes any skill and practice, then it just becomes something that is meaningless. So what is art? obscurantism is a word I heard. There was a guy named Twombly whose painting sold for tens of millions, I believe 40 million or something. And it was the one I was mentioning with just red swirls. It was basically something that anyone could do. And when people are asked about it, they say it evokes an emotion, that it has some deep meaning, deep understanding, even when that artist didn't intend that. Now look, as an artist and musician, I know what it means to create something and to have people interpret it a different way than you intended it. We all, as a Grateful Dead lover, deadhead if you will, I listen to their music, and sometimes these songs mean a lot to me, and I think I understand the meaning, and you find out that you were mistaken. And that brings me to the soup cans, Andy Warhol. The idea that people really think that he was talented is kind of ludicrous. In fact, he wasn't even really taken serious until after his death, but same with many artists, right? Andy Warhol painting of the tomato soup cans, it's not inspirational for me. It's not, pushing the boundaries of anything. It's just lazy. It's not art. It's like clip art. It's like the founder of modern clip art. And the reason why this, I guess, I don't want to feel like I'm insulting modern artists. If you want to create it, go for it. But to pretend like it's something more than it is, a lot of this stuff is ludicrous. And a lot of tax money goes to put these modern art installations into, say, public places. And there have been a lot of stories of complaints. People don't want that crap in their town. They're like, I paid $500,000 for somebody to come and install this weird brass janky thing with a bunch of strange platforms that serve no purpose whatsoever. It's not even functional art, right? Nor does it evoke that same emotion, that these divine proportions, if you will, or using, say, even the Fibonacci sequence, using this ratio, the golden ratio, if you will, actually makes things look beautiful. Or making faces in paintings that look at least somewhat either mystical or having some depth behind them. I've seen a modern art display that was just a jigsaw puzzle. There have been stories of people throwing just a half-finished jigsaw puzzle, that's it. Stories of people having their modern art displays thrown away, several of them that I read about, because the janitor somewhere thought it was just a pile of junk. Because it was. Literally, some of these modern art installations are nothing more than a pile of junk, claiming to make some point about garbage. Now, a lot of the modern art installations are made of garbage, and it's a different story. I think it's kind of janky, but at the same time, I respect it, and I think it's good, because it's bringing awareness to something, right? To litter, at least if that's the intention. To plastics, whatever it might be, but, white on white is not something, moving and deep. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter how many colors of white you paint on one canvas over each other, it's still white. It's not any more than we create what we want to believe that it is. If you are not an artist, your opinion is ridiculed. It's just hands down the way it is. I'm not an artist, but I am an artist. In other words, no, I'm not a professional artist, but the professional art scene is pretty much what, Sotheby's or whatever, or some of these places where they sell these $1 million paintings, and it's just these arrogant pricks with a lot of money buying these things for tax havens. That's a whole different story. No, I paint weird things. I painted this. It's a strange space thing I never quite finished, with like an ocean in it. I was painting a river with the sun. There's nothing special about this, but this is still better than white on white. This is something I was working on for a book I'm writing about pharmaceuticals. It's got the apple and the pharmaceuticals in the background. None of these are finished. But this one really got me. This is one my wife painted last year. We were all just painting, and she has never painted a picture before, and she was just looking at a tutorial, and she painted this. And I forgot who painted it. I was like, that's really good. This actually looks pretty good for a first time scene on, it was just like, wow, that's awesome. Yet, there's guys out there selling paintings for $1 million. I mean, is that how the world's going to end up like this? with my nuclear cloud. I'm still working on the city and the cloud and everything. No, I painted on and off for years. The point in showing you guys these is that it's not that hard to make beautiful things. Even this, which is just by chance. This is one of those drip paintings where you pour the paint pouring using all these different ingredients. But art to me it's very subjective, and it can be anything. But allowing others to rewrite what art is and just kind of use that term for a white canvas, I think it does a lot of disservice to real artists. I really do. You can't redefine what art is because it's pretentious, but at the same time, I argued like 8 years ago with an artist who was a professional painter from New York. And he was saying that art is defined, and I was saying, well, I do this and I create this, and he said those are crafts. And I was kind of bothered and offended a little bit by it, but I was like another pretentious New York artist, a snob. But after we discussed it for a while, I said, it's true, you demean real art by thinking that a white canvas or a white line through a red canvas is the same as painting the Sistine Chapel, right? Something you look up at and go, wow. Put it this way, if you walked across a painting, a Michelangelo, like just randomly in the street, you'd take notice, right? And you'd see the beauty. If you walked by a blank canvas on the street, would it evoke that same feeling without somebody else telling you exactly what it's supposed to represent? It's kind of like pop music. People always tell us that it's popular, therefore it's good, but we know it's not.
Therefore, it's good, but we know it's not. Popular, therefore it's good, but we know it's not. It's good, but we know it's not.
It's one of those fears of missing out. It's a fear of missing out and not knowing what's cool and what's not cool. But what do we fear missing out on? We fear missing out on the in crowd. Oh God. You've got to be the cool guy. You've got to be the cool guy. I think that strange art is fine as long as it speaks to talent, as long as it's not something that anyone can jump in and do with a brush. I know a lot of people out there would defend Jackson Pollock paintings. He splattered art in a certain way, splattered paint in a certain way. Even he said, it's just like splattered a bunch of crap on a canvas on the floor, and that's what I got. I'm not going to even debate the fact that, sure, that took at least a little bit of effort, but that anyone really could do it. And that it would be difficult to spot a fake if it was done to the same standards, which is not difficult. There's no custom thing that sets him apart from anyone else, in my opinion. I think there's a very telling aspect. There was an old font from the 60s or 70s, I can't remember. It was a feminist who had created this modern art where it said, I shop, therefore I am, and the whole thing was against consumerism and materialism. This exact font is the same one that's used by the company Supreme. Supreme is well known for making a stupid white t-shirt that just says Supreme, a logo across the front, and selling them for $100 and something or more. I'm not even sure the prices. But it's lunacy, sheer lunacy, what people are willing to pay for something that has a certain logo on it because they consider it, unique. And it's very similar in the art market. If people think that they're getting an in brand or an in name, it doesn't matter what the art looks like. It's about what the artist's name was. So people will be planning to bid on a painting before it's even finished, or a sculpture, whatever it might be. And it makes me wonder, does that really make it even art to these people? Or are they just bidding on a name? It's like buying a Coach purse. You don't buy a Coach purse because you think it's the best quality made purse. You buy it because you want to show everyone you bought a Coach purse. Now, there are people that would deny that, but it's absolutely true. People want to be part of the in crowd, and I think that especially a lot of the wealthy people in New York and elsewhere, they just don't know how to handle themselves. So they go into these galleries with these horrible paintings. And let me tell you this funny story. There have been studies, people have gone in to see if people are willing to believe something's an art exhibit. One guy went into one of these exhibits and he put his glasses down on the floor by the wall. And then he took pictures of people who were taking pictures on their hands and knees of his glasses, thinking that it was an art installation. So think about that for a minute. For anyone who's defending modern art, in any other time in history, would people take a picture of someone's glasses and think that's art? Very strange. So how can we, I'm going to ask you this, how can we decide what is beautiful and artistic as a whole if we aren't courageous enough to think for ourselves and as individuals? I mean, it's okay to say that tomato soup cans are not art, as well as, you know, I should just watch what I say because I don't want to compare it to religion or anything else. What I would like to say about religion is that I do agree, even though I'm not a religious person, I do agree when people say that religion was a huge inspiration for a lot of the art through history. People were devoting their time not just to the trade or to a sale, but really to express their belief and their spiritual beliefs for the rest of their life, for eternity as far as they knew. So there was a lot of love put into paintings of angels and God and these amazing scenes, which you can't deny that there was a hell of a lot of inspiration. And I'm not an expert on the Renaissance or Baroque or any of these different times in history, nor methods of painting. I feel like, yeah, you can learn a lot from going to school and understanding art, but it only goes so far to really knowing what art is. Art should evoke an emotion within us. And if it doesn't, then what is the point in it? You see what I mean? It just becomes a commodity. It's pretty sad. Even something as simple as this, a little sky, sunset. I don't even know who painted that. That was probably my wife too. And that's kind of why I brought these out. I thought, I've painted all these weird little paintings, strange circuit board type things, and this one with some mushrooms on it, a bunch of different things. But my wife's painting is like my favorite. And there's multiple reasons. A, because she wasn't trying too hard. She was just doing her own thing, experimenting. And B, because somebody else painted it. It's just like when somebody else makes a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Sandwiches always taste better when they are made by somebody you love, right? Or somebody that you admire. Better when they are made by somebody you love, right? Or somebody that you admire. Boy, I love cassette tapes. I use that as kind of a joke prop because it's nostalgic for me and for a lot of people, and because nostalgia is often used as a prop to make things seem like they're art when they're really not. Say, well, it brings you back. Oh, look, we're going to pose a bunch of G.I. Joe guys or Cabbage Patch Kids. One guy had a pile of Play-Doh. That was his exhibit. Now, I'm sure you all know where I'm coming from, and I hope I've covered it all well. Even though I have not had any notes in front of me, I'm not going to show you any fancy pictures of the art I'm talking about. It's just a guy rambling on YouTube. But, hey, that's what my channel is. Peace out. Talk to y'all next time. Oh yeah, man, I forgot to mention, you can always donate to my channel through Patreon and get extras, bonus content. I've been uploading videos that I link up to Patreon and posting some blogs, and thank you to all my patrons, thank you to my subscribers, and I hope you loved this artistic presentation. Don't mind that guy. Freaking weirdo. This town with $20, and I left with nothing in my hand. I can't remember what I laid it down for. what it was surely in my head. Have you ever felt the fucking pull of society now? Dragging you, dragging you, dragging you down below. Can't you see the way that society is crumbling now? Dragging you, dragging you, dragging you down below. I can't tell if this is true or dreaming. That's okay, 'cause either way I'm I don't have a true friend or a dollar bill now. Guess that I'm just out of luck. Thanks for coming to Carbo's channel, yo. Yeah.